Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. And how do you do? That's right. It's Edwina B. Free to hope from recovery, emerge empowered to give hope to others, help others prosper equally. Y'all know me, Miss Goo Goo for Cocoa Pops. Lord, I love you, Lord. I love you. I love you, Lord, because He chose to wake me up this morning. He said, Rise, Edwina. There's something I need you to do. There's one more person I need you to touch. And guess what? I prepared you to do both. All right. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. We have a busy morning this morning because of our topic for today. Do you see it? Avoiding controversy, huh? I can't wait to dive into that. So we know that for most of our society, that there are pros and cons about Christmas, Halloween, Memorial Day, Valentine's Day, Mother Day. But guess what? Every day is a holiday for me. Every day is a day to celebrate. And guess what? I don't take any day for granted anymore. I used to before God met me, delivered me, and prepared me from underneath a parked car 34 plus years ago. 3 o'clock in the morning in the streets of Philadelphia. I wasn't wearing a mask then because I was done, getting high and doing all kind of sexual things for my own stepson, plagued with alcoholism, drug addiction, prostitution. I even committed murder. Yes, I had an abortion as a prostitute because I didn't want to acknowledge who the father was. And so after many attempts of suicide, rapes, beat up, spit on, called all kinds of names, passed around like a bucket, right? Oh my God, jumping in and out of cars, falling off a roof, right? Jumping in and out of windows to get just one more. Oh, come on. I was done. But underneath that parked car, I said, whoever they say you are, take me out this life now or show me a better way. 34 plus years later, I haven't looked back. I only look back to find out what happened because for a long time, I thought something was wrong with me. Now, if that is not controversial, I don't know what is. But anyway, how y'all doing this morning, huh? Are you putting on your mask? Are you putting on your costume? Canaan Baptist Church is having Holy Ween tonight at Canaan Baptist Church, right? Let's see. Am I able to go? I might be able to go, okay? But you know what? To God be the glory. Every day is a holiday for me, and I practice taking off all the masks, right? So there's a time once in a while I may choose to be more cuckoo for Cocoa Pops, okay? So I don't have my daily announcements up. I don't know what's going on. The devil is a liar, but I know what every page say, okay? And more importantly, I have the topic for today. So to God be all the glory. What I want to say seriously is that the late Benjamin Twimby Brown of Community Communications Corporation platform has been relaunched. Yes. Don Thomas, his wife, Lyric Thomas, and their daughter, my adopted granddaughter, Legacy, will be here over the next few days. And they will be joining me and relaunching the spiritual revival hour, the community communication, what's going on, what is it all about, all the different shows and documentaries and hosting and video production workshop that Twin initiated and continued 70 years in media, 50 years in radio broadcasting, and 30 plus years in video production workshop. And guess what? 33 plus years, he set me in front of a camera and said, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, action. I said, cut. He said, what's the matter? I got to go to the bathroom. Lord, I went in that bathroom. I said, I can't do this. I can't do this. I go back out there again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, action. Cut. I can't. I got to go back to the bathroom. This time I went to the bathroom. I said, Lord, now, you know, if you want me to do this, you have to go before me. You have to do something because I just can't do it. The Spirit said, go on back out there, open up your mouth and leave the rest to me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, action. Hi, my name is Edwina B., and I am a recovering drug addict and alcoholic and former prostitute. But the God that I didn't know that I know now delivered me from underneath the parked car, ... And I've been talking ever since. See, to God be all the glory. And so with Don and his wife, Larry, coming into town, Don was one of his most proudest students because he have taken twins education, his technology, his wisdom, his knowledge to California, Las Vegas, North Carolina, and he is global, right? With his TV network and his platform of doing documentaries and filming and all that. So I'm excited. And the most important announcement is that he was elected chair of CCC. Don Thomas is now the president of Community Communications Corporation. Yes, with me at his side as the executive director and his wife, Lyric. Listen, we're going to make things happen. We also included on the board Tim Qualls from Positive Promotions. We also included James Turner from Dun Amiss Marketing out of Chester, Pennsylvania, as well as Marvin Couch out of, I believe, Tennessee. We also have some others who will be sitting and advising us through an advisory board. The former chairperson, Maria Cabrera, Bishop Greer, and Larry Lambert, right? And others who have contributed and benefited from twins' involvement in their lives over the years will be a part of our advisory committee. But I am so glad that we finally locked things in place so that we really can move on the way Twin wanted us to. Now, with Twin, you know, there was always some doubt. There was always some controversy with Twin, but we are avoiding all controversies, right? We're doing things by the book, legally, happily. We are checking with Dana, the Delaware Association of Nonprofits. We're making sure we have our T's crossed and our I's dotted so that we can do it the right way. Twin heart was in it. There's no doubt. But because of the logistics of the media world, controversy, none of that. We will and have avoided any controversy. So welcome our new board president, Don Thomas, and his wife, Lyric, and daughter, Legacy. Welcome to Delaware. All right. Okay, now, the first project that we're going to be working on is planning for Black History Month, Twinbee Brown's celebration of life, as well as the launching of his new book, The Legacy of Dr. Benjamin Twinbee Brown. I want to thank Dr. Burton for preparing it and interviewing people and collecting information over the last few years so that we can put forth and in your hands a book that you can read about Dr. Benjamin Twinbee Brown. Unfortunately or fortunately, God called him home first. And you know, guess what? That's God's decision. But guess what? We will be able to read his book and also to celebrate his legacy in the month of February, Black History Month, all right? And so we also want to thank Sherry Dorsey, our representative for the state of Delaware. She too wants to stay on as an advisor, giving us the direction that we need. And so I just thank the community for just waiting patiently for us to come back, relaunch with the help of DET, Ivan and Dennis of Channel 28. We will be working side by side with them in order to make sure that that studio that was named after Dr. Benjamin Twin Brown is still occupied with his vision and his wisdom. Okay, so that's enough for that. I'm avoiding controversy as our topic for today is. So let's see what it says. Okay, all right, let me put my glasses on. All right. Now, many of you know this is the end of October. And in the 12-step Alcoholics Anonymous spiritual program within a spiritual fellowship, we focus on the month with the particular step and the tradition. So we focus for the entire month of October, step 10 and tradition 10. And so we are now focusing on one of the traditions in tradition 10 entitled Avoiding Controversy, okay? And so it reads, right? Let's see which way I want to do this. All history affords us the spectacle of striving nations and were designed for or tempted into controversy. Others failed. Others followed righteousness while trying to enforce upon the rest of mankind specifications, right? Wait a minute. Let me start again. All history affords us the spectacle of striving nations and were designed for or tempted into controversy. Others fell apart because of sheer self-righteousness while trying to enforce upon the rest of mankind some millennium of their own specification, right? And so it comes from the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions off of page 176. And the AA member shares his experience by saying, okay, I am missing something. Hold on. Okay. As an AA member and sponsor, I know I can cause real damage if I yield to temptation and give opinions and advice on another's medical, marital, or religious aspect. You know, we're not doctors, we're not lawyers, right? I cannot tell anyone how he or she should live, right? Having experienced similar situations, right? I share with them how I got through them without drinking and how steps and traditions have helped us to do that. I paraphrase because I cut off some of the pages. I tell you, I'm transparent and authentic. And let's talk for a minute. I don't know how I'm gonna keep this out of order. But anyway, so when you hear the word controversy, right, what comes to your mind? Okay. Now, better yet, can you think of an example where you were engaged in a controversial conversation brought upon by another or even yourself? Think about it. And if you have been listening to AJ Harding this past week, these past few days on self-examination, self-inventory, keeping the focus on yourself, right? And so when we look at ourselves, right, if we have a picture of ourselves, imagine you stepping out of the picture and looking at yourself, your behaviors, your attitudes, your demeanor, your voice, your tone, all of that. You're taking an inventory of yourself, standing outside of the picture, looking at and listening to yourself, okay? And so one of the things that helped people like me with the disease of alcoholism and drug addiction and all associated behaviors is that we no longer want to point the finger at anybody, because when we do that, we have 3 fingers plus a thumb pointing back at us. And so the biggest challenge of this sinful world within our sinful nature is controversy. right? People trying to convince someone to think their way, act their way, behave their way. Others retaliate, others revolt. There is anger, resentments, and all that based on someone trying to impose their self-righteousness on others. And automatically it causes controversies, right? Think about it. And so when I think about the research I have done, being a part of this spiritual program that provides spiritual principles, tools, and resources within a spiritual fellowship, I conducted research in how the Society of Alcoholics Anonymous has been able to flourish nearly 90 years. We will be celebrating 90 years on June the 10th, 2025. But we also learned from the controversies of the two previous movements, the Washingtonians and the Oxford group, who almost had the answer. But learning from them and doing my research about them, we have learned that the biggest downfall was diverting from the primary purpose of staying sober and helping another alcoholic achieve sobriety. And so as a result of diverting from their primary purpose, controversy began to infiltrate the movement, and both the Washingtonians and the Oxford group, right? And so when you engage in controversy, there's nothing but confusion, chaos, and nothing gets done, because everybody think they are right, and everybody want to prove that they're right. Everybody want to defend rather than just accept that I have my opinion and you have your opinion, and guess what? It's based on our own experience. But what do we have in common? What is the common denominator, right? And so AA learned from those two previous movements and have not diverted from their primary purpose. So we have learned not to engage in any controversy. We avoid it with all possible ways and means to stay out of it. And so as a result, we have been able to maintain the spirituality that has been provided for those suffering from the disease of alcoholism, drug addiction, and all related behaviors, to learn these spiritual principles, tools, and resources and apply them to all earthly matters, including controversies, right? Where we practice avoiding them all the way, right? And so controversies within our family, within our community, on the job, with people, and so I thank God that I've been giving these spiritual tools to learn when to mind my own business, to learn. I have a young lady that I helped in this process, right? And she had talked to me concerning some issues that she had about her boyfriend at the time, and how emotional and upset she would get as a result of talking to him on the phone. And I told her what I did and what was suggested to me: stay off the phone. Stay off the phone. She also brings up something that I said that was said to me: not every response need a response, right? not everything needs a response. Just listen and don't respond, right? Because the moment we engage, we are contributing to controversy. Yes, we are. And so AJ Harding this morning, he talked about, the tongue, the word being a weapon. And I had commented that the 5 agreements by the Uiz family, their first agreement is be impeccable with your word. as AJ Harding talked about, how words can be a weapon and how words can be uplifting, right? And so we understand that once it comes out the mouth, you can't take it back. And once it does come out the mouth, it is in some way, shape, form of reflection of what's in your heart, right? Because we are born in a sinful world, and we are plagued, plagued with a sinful nature. And so we are unaware until we had that knee bowing experience what harm we cause with our words, what harm we cause by trying to control something or somebody, what harm we cause and deliberately outwardly demeaning someone. See, because we understand that a hurt hurt people, right? So I've learned through my program of Alcoholics Anonymous that's spiritual in nature to really, really try to avoid controversy. Now, y'all know. Hey, Miss Wright, y'all know me. I'm going to give you an example because I just went through one yesterday. Yes. See, I'm the type of person who I need recent or something current to really apply this to make it applicable to the topic, right? And so listen. And one of my situations, I'm just going to say it that way, right? There's some big controversies about what was done, what was not done, who's responsible, who's to blame, this, and that, And you know what? My humanness got in the ring. Yes, it did. My humanness got in the ring. Now, I tried to be very diplomatic. I tried to be very direct. No, I was direct, right? But it did come with some some sarcasm and some some of that stuff. You know what I'm talking about, right? That our humanness, right, reacts to a situation, right? And if it includes you or it's about you, and in this case, it included me and it was about me, my humanness wanted to defend, right? And I was in it, y'all. I tell you, I'm transparent and authentic. I was in it. And then the program kicked in. The Holy Spirit said, Edwina, what are you doing? Woosa. Breathe, Edwina. You don't want to continue to engage in that type of behavior. You don't want to continue to allow that situation to knock you off your square. Edwina, woosa, get up, take a walk, okay? Pray, Edwina, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can. And when I did those things, that humanist kicked right back in. Here I go again, thinking again. Spirit said, okay, let's try it again. And so that's what the program of Alcoholics Anonymous principles, tools, and resources. We embrace our humanness, right? Because we are, but we practice embracing more of the spiritual part of us. And I did not know anything about the spiritual part of us until I got into Alcoholics Anonymous at my humanness, right? And all of those spirits that occupied this same vessel, and my part contributed to me being underneath that parked car, okay? And so I have learned that when I recognize, as AJ Harding talked about, think before you speak. You know. Man, my humanness said, F that. Yeah, you know, right? Okay. And then I catch myself, right? Because listen, I said some words. Listen, man, what? Yes, I did. Even with 34 years in practicing the spiritual program, okay? But I recognize that I allowed, right, a situation, right, to take over, right, and to cloud my judgment for a few minutes. What about an hour? What about even up until this morning? Back and forth, back and forth. But I feel a lot better because I allowed myself to feel what I felt, right? Right, wrong, or indifference, right? Indifferent. I accepted what I felt, right? And the real kick of it is it was the opinion of others, right? Of what this and what that and what this and what I and what you, right? It was the opinions of others. So when we talked about the other day, right, how to avoid controversy and how to not try to force my thinking, or you force your thinking onto me, where we just accept. So what I've learned to do and what I'm going to practice to do, that I did yesterday, because I was in and out. That's truth be told. I give it to God, I take it back. I give it to God, I take it back. The Holy Spirit speaks to me, I yield. The Holy Spirit speaks to me and I ignore. You know what I mean? And so that's the beauty of self-awareness. That's the beauty of being present, right? I am not going to deny what's obvious. People say, yeah, words do hurt and words do cut, right? And words could build up this and words can build up that. But I've learned in the past to listen to the words, but I've also learned how to listen to the behavior. Okay. And so this brings me to the topic again of avoiding controversy, right? So if me and let's say me and let's put this over here, me and someone in my family, right? I'm still going through a little bit of something with some family members, right? And I acknowledge it, right? And for me, the answer is to pray for them, pray for me, and for God's will to be done, right? But I also know that I don't trust myself around certain family members. I just don't, because I don't know when my humanness will take over, my common sense, right? And so to avoid the situation and avoid the temptation, avoid them, right? So I'm learning, right? And so I also have to be careful of when I go into my place of employment, right? How to be more accepting than rebellious or revengeful or this and that, because yesterday I was in it. Right? I come in and out, but I was in it, right? And this morning I feel a lot better because I know how to use the spiritual principles, tools, and resources. I do know how. The question is, am I going to choose to use them? So I have been restored to sanity so that I can avoid controversies. Because controversies, right, not only knocks me off my square, I give power to that situation to knock me off my square. I give power to that situation to take my joy, my serenity, my peace, my tranquility. I give the power away. But when I practice and learn to avoid controversies, I maintain my peace, my tranquility, right? I maintain it. I can be in it and not there, if you know what I mean. I can just listen and I can just not respond. But I also have to be mindful of my expressions too. My expressions, you ain't got to say, I ain't got to say nothing for you to see what I'm thinking. Listen, the other day I was riding with some of my people, right? And we was in a van, and I was taking them to church, right? And so they know that I don't like nobody to be smoking around me. I don't, and I have expressed it over and over again because I don't want to get into any controversies, right? And so I let them know, no smoking. I will let you know when there's a time to smoke, that it won't interfere with my driving. It won't give me an instant headache. Since I am responsible for bringing y'all to and from, then I need y'all to respect my wishes, right? And so when it was all said and done, a few of them did, and guess what? The humanist came out of me, and I told them exactly how I felt. Yes, I did. Right? I calmed down a little bit, and but it was still in me, because once they got in the van, I could still smell the smoke on their clothes, and they started talking, and I was like, "Be quiet! Don't say nothing, just because you're." And then after a while, I couldn't control that the way I would have wanted to, because I can't, right? But then I looked over to this person with listen, the young lady in the back seat said, "Ooh, Miss Edwina, what was that look about?" Ooh, she's, So even though we say that we're calm, cool, and collective, and we're accepting things and all the kind of stuff, honey, we may not say it, but we're sure is not feeling it, and our expressions will demonstrate that and will come out, right? And so that being said, one of the things I've learned in my 12 spiritual program is to treat people the way I want to be treated, right? Using that serenity prayer helps me a lot. Learn to speak up for myself, right? Learn to accept the way others are without trying to change them, right? Looking and accepting situations, circumstances that I have no control over, right? And the only way I'm able to do that, and I can put them up here, right, is to utilize the spiritual principles, tools, and resources that I've been practicing for over 34 plus years. And so through the spiritual, not religious, through the spiritual program of Alcoholics Anonymous, through the spiritual principles, through the spiritual tools and resources, through the spiritual information by Dr. Benjamin Twimby Brown, the Spiritual Revival Hour, through the spiritual teachings of the 5 Agreements by the Uwees family, through the spiritual songs that I hear that feed my spirit and not my flesh, the spiritual exercise of writing in my journal exactly what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, what I'm hoping, what of this, what of that. I'm spiritually letting go, right? Through the spiritual teachings of Dr. Sonia Strickland from Global 3 University. So through these spiritual tools and resources and principles, I'm feeding my spirit, so that I can use any and all of them to avoid any and all controversies. Now, the one thing that our God did not take from us and won't take from us is our will. He won't. But when I think about, and I do my inventory, we have a on-the-spot inventory, we have a midday inventory, we have a end of the day inventory, so that when I see myself my human is getting ready to go there, I recognize it because my dynamics of my body temperature change, my facial expressions change, right? And so once I'm aware of that, then I can choose to apply these spiritual principles to avoid getting in that ring of anger, getting in that ring of lust, getting in that ring of deceitfulness, getting in that ring. Like they want to get in that, they want me to get in that ring so they can duke me and all of that kind of stuff, but I need to avoid getting in the ring. But there are times when I do get in the ring. And guess what? Reality sets in and say, you better turn your ass around and get the hell out of here. And you know, that's the beauty of being a part of this spiritual program, because I practice not giving anything or anybody that much power ever again. Number one, to make me go back to drinking. Number two, to put me back underneath that parked car. Number three, which is really number one, to tell God to kiss my behind. No. And I'll even tell you that. And we have a step for that. Step 10, continue to take personal inventory. And when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. I'll come back and I will apologize. But at that moment, what came out of my mouth was in my heart at that moment, and I said it. And I needed to rectify it immediately. Repent. Yes. Ask for forgiveness. State that I'm sorry because I don't want to cause any more controversies. And so that's why for me, I will apologize if what I did or what I said caused you to think that I harmed you, and it was intentionally or not intentionally. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. And I mean it. Please forgive me. I know better. I know better. Why? Because I have been taught. I have evaluated. I have analyzed. I have conducted surgery on these spiritual principles, tools, and resources to apply to all earthly matters, including you, that situation, that circumstance. Edwina, wear the world like a loose garment. I understand that now, right? Most times it's just better to, if not all the time, just listen. They want you to respond? No comment. I'm just listening to what you say. No comment. No comment. What can I say? That's how you think. That's what you said. That's how you felt. That's what you believe. Now, for me, in this 12-step spiritual program, one of the things that we are taught is that when we are wrong, promptly admit it. Meaning that if I made a judgment, I made a call, or I made a decision based on what I thought I knew, and come to find out that I was missing a piece of the information, a piece of the puzzle, and it is brought to my attention, I practiced humility and said, oh my gosh, thank you. I was wrong based on what I thought I knew. I was wrong. Are you able to do that with humility? And not the opposite. Oh, making justification or rational. No. I made a judgment. I made a decision, and I made it without all the information. Therefore, I am wrong, and I need to rectify it. I need to apologize to avoid any additional controversies. Okay. Now, what time is it? 7:16. All right. And so I love the fact that at the end of step 10, the daily reflections that we've been reading, right, basically says to avoid controversies and why. And I want you and I to practice avoiding controversies today, just for today, okay? Let's see. One of the things that I did this morning, and that I always do, I said, Lord, thank you for waking me up this morning. I also need to pray specifically, right? God, please remove any deceit, any dishonesty, any anger, any frustration from me, right? That can cause further harm or cause further controversy from me. Please prepare me to avoid any and all controversies, right? Lord, also help me to keep my mouth shut when my humanness wants to kick in and do this and say that. No, help me, Lord. Help me restrain myself. As A.J. Harding, think before you say something. The 5 agreements, the 5th one says, be skeptical, but learn to listen. So let me state all the 5 agreements by the Uwees family, which has really enhanced my spiritual development, increased my spiritual journey, and complements my 12-step spiritual program. And the first one is be impeccable with your word. That means without sin. Be impeccable with your word, starting with self. Starting with self. Before I got into Alcoholics Anonymous and learned these spiritual principles, tools, and resources, I was not impeccable with myself. I called myself a failure. I called myself a despicable person. I called myself a whore. I called myself all these things, right? I called myself, I said that I'll never be nothing. I'll never, never. You're bad, Edwina. That is not being impeccable with my word to me. And the Uwees family helps me to understand what it means to be impeccable with my word towards me. No, Edwina, you are not a failure. No, Edwina, you are not a whore. No, Edwina, you are not revengeful. You are not sick. You are not a bad person. And so when I begin to be impeccable with my word towards me, then I can practice being impeccable with my word to you. That makes sense? Yes. The second agreement says, don't take anything personal. Whoa! Man, yesterday I felt and I took everything personal, knowing it was not the truth. Now that's something, right? How you going to take something personal and you know damn well it's not the truth? Right? But man, when this person was coming at me, listen, Edwina, why are you taking this personal? You know it's not true. That's my humanness. But I'm reminded by the Uwees family, practice don't take it anything personal, Edwina. That's that person's opinion. That's what they call deflection. That's what they call transference, right? Because you know where the truth really lies. It's not that I did something wrong, although I am willing to acknowledge and admit the part I play in anything, right? I'm able to do that, right? And so I am also willing to let a person share their opinion and let them believe what they want to believe, because nothing I can say, do will change their opinion. So it's like, don't even feed into it. Yes, ma'am. And my response was, whatever you say. Yes, ma'am. No problem. Whatever you want. It was a lot different at the end than in the beginning. In the beginning, I had the boxing gloves on. Yeah, North Philly, right? But as I continued to allow myself to engage, I realized I need to backtrack. I need to retract. I need to retreat, right? And it was like, I surrender. No problem. Whatever you say. Okay, I got you. I got you. But then after and then I went back into my mind again. Edwina, what's wrong with you? All right. And so the third agreement is don't make any assumptions. Don't make any assumptions, right? Don't make any assumptions. And that's what I mean by when I stake my reputation on something. Like I told y'all, I just knew that my daughter, right? The father of my daughter was this man. I just knew it. I just believed it. I was convinced, right? Because of my limited thinking, because of my closed-minded, and because of my ignorance, right? I took this man to court, believing that this man was the father of my first child. Come to find out, I was wrong. Woo! I was wrong. I assumed by my ignorance, by my lack of knowledge. He was trying to tell me, no, I ain't trying to hear nothing. No, I was wrong. And once I got the results of that DNA test, I had to call him and apologize to him and said he was right all along because I assumed. Yeah. So listen, I believe in giving tangible, realistic experiences. I'm authentic. I'm transparent. I have no secrets. Listen, I will avoid controversies as best I can because if you want to know the truth, I'm going to tell you. If you don't want to know the truth, don't ask me. Okay. If you want someone to go around the bush and go around, talk to somebody else. If you want it raw, if you want it direct, then ask me. What? I have a young lady, right? And I tell my people, listen, I don't need the story. I don't need the story. Yes, no, you will or you won't. What's the problem? Tell me the solution, not the story. You tell yourself the story. I don't need the story. I don't need it. I don't even want it. Right? And I'm just very direct to the point, facts, let's go. Right? And that's how I operate. And I forget that others don't operate that way. But I'm not going to not continue to operate that way for me. Right. And so sometimes my actions, my demeanor is misinterpreted. And I understand because I'm the same way if I felt that way about somebody else. You know what I mean? And so one of the things that the 5 agreements has taught me, right, is be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personal. Don't make any assumptions. Always do your best, even if it's the worst. Always do your best, even at times it's your worst. And the 5th one, be skeptical, but learn to listen. Okay, I got to go. And so thank you, AJ Harding. Thank you, my spiritual mentor, Dr. J. Macklin, right? Thank you for allowing me to be me, right? And so when I am given this information, I freely share it with you. I share the facts from the author and his intent. I share with you the person's perception or opinion from what the author said. Then I give mine. But guess what? We can agree to disagree. But one thing is for sure, if I'm open-minded, I'll learn something. I'll learn something. Yes, yes. And it's called humility, being humbled. Yes. Avoid controversies as best you can. All right. So if it's God's will that you and I rejoin tomorrow, I'll be here. And I'll know if you're here because he would have blessed you too. In the meantime, I love you. You love me. We are one big family with a great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too? Ooh, ooh, ooh. I love you. And there's nothing you can do about it either. Ain't that right, AJ? I love you guys. Have a blessed day. Lord, I love you. I love you. I love you.